In the early 1950s, American food companies had a product that should have been unstoppable: instant cake mix. Add water, stir, bake, a perfect cake in minutes, and housewives wouldn't touch it. Sales crawled. So the story goes, the companies brought in a psychologist named Ernest Dichter, who came back with a diagnosis nobody expected. The mix was too easy. A cake you merely add water to isn't yours. It's the factory's cake, and serving it felt like cheating. The fix was to make the product worse. Take out the powdered egg and make her crack a fresh one into the bowl. One egg, 30 seconds of labor. Sales climbed, the add an egg legend was born, and buried inside it is one of the strangest bugs in human pricing. We don't value things because they're good. We value them because we made them. 60 years later, 3 researchers gave the bug its name. Michael Norton, Daniel Mochon, and Dan Ariely paid people to assemble a plain black IKEA storage box, the least romantic object ever manufactured, and then auctioned it against an identical box someone else had built. The builders bid 63% more for their own box, not a family heirloom, a box. It got stranger with origami. Novices folded crumpled, lopsided frogs and cranes, then priced them. Outside observers valued the creations at almost nothing, about 5 cents. The creators priced their own wads of paper near the level of expert folded origami, and they predicted other people would see the same value. They didn't just love their frog, they genuinely believed the frog was lovable. The researchers called it the IKEA effect. Labor, all by itself, manufactures love. Why would effort, which is a cost, get counted as value? 2 gears are turning. The first is effort justification, and psychology has known about it since 1959, when Elliot Aronson and Judson Mills put students through an embarrassing initiation to join a discussion group that was, by design, crushingly boring. The students who suffered the harsh initiation rated the boring group as fascinating. The brain hates admitting effort was wasted, so it quietly inflates the prize until the effort looks justified. The second gear is competence. Finishing something with your own hands, even flat-pack furniture with pre-drilled holes, produces the feeling I am capable, and that glow gets stapled to the object. When you look at the wobbly shelf, you're not seeing particle board, you're seeing evidence about yourself, and nobody cross-examines evidence that flatters them. Once you know the signature, you find it everywhere. The renovation you did yourself, which every guest politely steps around, and which you quote at a premium if anyone suggests changing it. The sourdough starter, the garden bed that produced $11 of tomatoes for $300 of effort. Worth it. The slide deck you built at midnight that has, let's be honest, 9 slides too many, every one of which is somehow essential. Sellers listing their own houses reliably price above the market. Buyers see a kitchen, owners see the summer they tiled it. Programmers famously defend their own tangled code and rewrite everyone else's. Parents, and look, we all know this one, hang the macaroni art like it's on loan from a museum. Hours in, love out. The meter doesn't ask whether the hours made it better. And notice the trap in the origami finding. The folders didn't say, it's bad, but it's mine. They thought it was good. The effect doesn't feel like bias from the inside. It feels like taste. And here's the escalation that actually costs people. The effect doesn't stop at objects. You also assemble ideas. Your business plan, your thesis, your clever reorganization of the team, those are things you built, and the same machinery prices them. Organizations even have a name for the corporate version, not invented here syndrome, where perfectly good outside solutions get rejected because nobody in the building did the labor. A manager who spent 6 months on a failing project isn't just fighting sunk costs. The IKEA effect is upstream of that, whispering that the project is good, which is why the sunk cost fallacy from episode 3 gets such an easy grip. First, labor inflates the value. Then the inflated value justifies more labor. That loop has a gravitational pull. Look at the whiteboard, because the whole episode is one drawing. On the left, a bookshelf from the store. Level, square, boring. On the right, your bookshelf. One shelf sloping like a ramp. A door that opens only with violence. Between them, a balance scale, and the store shelf is objectively heavier with quality. But look under your side, a pile of hours, the trip, the Allen key, the argument about step 14, all stacked, thumb on the scale under your shelf. That's the IKEA effect in one image. The hours weigh in, invisibly, on the side of whatever you made. You never priced the shelf. You priced the afternoon. Now the flip side, Because this bug is also a feature and industries run on it. Build-A-Bear charges you for the privilege of doing the factory's stuffing. Meal kits sell you the chopping. And honestly, fair trade. The follow-up research on the IKEA effect points at competence. Assembling things genuinely restores a sense of capability, and a world of frictionless one-click everything quietly starves that feeling. Labor bonds you to your habits, your instruments, your relationships. The marriage you've worked on survives partly because you've worked on it. That's not delusion, that's glue. Effort is how ordinary things get promoted into yours. The effect only becomes expensive at the moment you need a true price. What your work is worth to someone who wasn't there for the labor, a buyer, an employer, an audience. They didn't crack the egg, they're just tasting the cake, and the cake has to win on its own. Quick honesty break, because this channel does real psychology, not internet psychology. First, yes, that's the same Dan Ariely, whose later, unrelated honesty research collapsed in a data scandal. But the IKEA effect doesn't rest on one lab. It has been independently replicated, including in children as young as 5. Second, the effect has known limits. In the original studies, the love only arrived when the build was finished. Participants who assembled and then dismantled a box or never finished bid like strangers. And the cake mix origin story? Food historians say the record is messier than the legend. Dictor existed, the advice existed, but the neat one-egg miracle is at least partly marketing folklore. The box auctions, though, those are just data. So 3 ways to use this. First, the stranger test. Before you defend anything you made, a shelf, a deck, a plan, ask what it would be worth if a stranger handed it to you tomorrow, labor invisible. If the answer embarrasses you, the hours are doing the talking, and you can thank them for their service and outvote them anyway. Second, price other people's labor up front. The intern's rough draft, your partner's weird casserole, the maker across the table is holding a lopsided frog that looks, to them, like a swan, and mocking it costs you more than it costs the frog. Third, run the effect on purpose. Want to love the gym, the language, the neighborhood? Put labor in early. Assembly is how belonging gets built. The effect never asks whether the thing deserved the hours, which means you get to decide what does. And if you need buy-in on a decision, stop presenting finished furniture. Hand people apart to build. And now the mirror, because you knew it was coming. The most elaborate thing you have ever assembled isn't on a shelf. It's your set of opinions, each one built over years, from experiences you gathered, arguments you survived, evidence you handpicked. You defend those opinions the way you defend the wobbly bookshelf, not because they're level, but because you remember building them. The next time you feel that surge of certainty that your view is obviously right, that it isn't even a view, just reality, check for the pile of hours under the scale. It might be a swan. Statistically, some of them are frogs. If you just glanced at something you built, an object, a project, an opinion, and felt it get slightly cheaper, subscribe, because marker theory draws out the psychology behind why you do what you do. Next episode, 7 signs you're dealing with a manipulator. The mind games people play, drawn out where you can finally see them. See you there.